All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the, I was going to say fun and fabulous, and it is fun and fabulous, but the Joyful Business Studio. And this is a special bonus call, and we're going to be talking about activating your creative power centers. There is an audio. I did do a call on this not that long ago, but since we've moved to the webinar format, I thought it would be really good to have it more in a webinar so you can see, have some notes, see the visual, and just some other thoughts that I have about how to use this model. So if you haven't done this already, you want to print out the worksheet, the Creative Power Centers worksheet. It's available in the Facebook group. That's probably the quickest place to get it. And then I posted the slides. So if you like to take notes, you might want to print out the slides, and then you'll have the outline, and it's really easy to go from there. Okay. All right, let me go ahead and share my slides. All right. At any time, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to come off of mute or put something in the chat box. Hold on, let me just. All right. So we're going to get rocking and rolling. All right. A couple of announcements. I just want to remind you guys that the next class that normally we would have on Wednesday next week, the first of the month, we've moved it up a day to Tuesday on the 4th. It's at the same time, 12 noon Eastern. Convert that to where you are. But I just want to make sure you all know about that. That's our content call, and I'll be doing some training around nurturing your community. So what that looks like, different ways that you can nurture those relationships into lifelong clients. All right, and then we'll have our open coaching call as usual on the 3rd Wednesday, which is on the 19th. And we're going to be doing coaching, but also some fun, what I call beacon visioning. So that's really kind of a fun thing we'll do for everybody who's showing up. We'll do some, what I call group visioning. All right. I was going to say welcome. We've got a few more people who've joined us. I see Anne. Welcome. Heidi. So glad you're here. All right. All right. I'm also going to just let you know, every year I do a business plan. And this year we're changing the name. It's called the Joyful Business Plan. And it looks like this, only with joyful instead of creative business plan. And it has all sorts of great mind maps, checklists. Most of you have this already. Some of you might be new. It has places to put your current offers, new offers, all of that. For being in the studio, we're actually going to give you the new Joyful Business Plan. Which is like $100 value. So it's kind of like getting, you get it, well, basically you get it for free. And so there's also going to be some quarterly trainings with that. And each of the, as long as you're a member in the studio, then you can attend any of those quarterly planning, virtual planning days. So you'll be finding out more about this. I just wanted to give you a little heads up. I've got some people asking questions about it already. So I just want to give you a little heads up on that. All right. Let's do just a couple, we're just going to do a couple of JoyFlow sightings today, because I really do want to spend the majority of the time on the Creative Power Center model. But I would love to hear from a couple of you. What is flowing? Where's the joy flowing? Your celebrations, successes, signs of abundance. What do you got going on over there where you are?
Hi, Laura. I'll go.
Yeah, great.
Just the fact that I'm here.
Yay!
I've been wanting to join this program for years, and I don't know, I guess I wasn't ready to show up, so I didn't. And then you had your special offer I couldn't refuse, so I thank you for that, and I'm just super excited.
Oh, that's so great. I'm so glad you're here. So it's, and I'm glad that you're ready to show up. So, and you showed up on video and everything. Yay.
Yeah, you have it at a time before I go to work, so it's perfect timing for me.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah. You know, we start, I really do believe we signal to the universe that we're ready, you know. by making commitments to things that we want to expand. So this is a big commitment to your business. So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, who else?
Laura?
Yes, I hear Beth, and I think I heard Anne. I'm not sure.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, it's Ann. I just wanted to say hello to
Hello.
everybody. This is my first official Joy Flow Sightings extravaganza, so I'm thrilled to be here.
We are glad you're here too.
Thank you.
And glad you said hello. Awesome.
Yes,
All right.
and I have my student today. I have my printout.
Okay, good. Good. You're ready to go then. All right. And then we have Beth. And if you have some noise or paper in the background, we'll try to mute everybody, but make sure that you mute. All right, great. Beth.
So I'm celebrating, I'm actually celebrating me and you.
We just got off a coaching call not too long ago, so we're both like really jazzed up by everything that's happening in Beth's business.
Yeah, well, I'm celebrating the abundance flow. I'm celebrating just the flow of building the business that I dream of, and it's becoming reality. And that just, it excites me, it grounds me, it motivates me, and it inspires me. And so that's what I'm celebrating today.
Yay, yay, it's really happening.
Yes.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Beth. Lisa, would you like to share?
Yeah, just real quick. I had a coaching call with one of my clients a few hours ago. And when she got on the phone and I asked, how are you doing? And the first thing she said was, I am excellent. And then it just continued with all these wonderful things that were occurring for her. And, she really filled my cup up with just letting me know how much a part of it that I was, and how she couldn't have gotten there, where she is right now without me, just looking over the past year. So that just, gave me just like a wow, things really, things were really happening for her, and it energized me. And so, just 3 weeks ago when we had our call, she was a little kind of all over the map, and so just to have this happen, and we talked about some of those ahas for her. But it's just been a great morning.
I love it. I'm so excited for your client, and doesn't it fill you up, and it reminds you why you do what you do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So great. Thanks for sharing that with us, because we all like to be reminded about that. Feels so good. Yeah, that's how I think Beth and I are like. We just got off a call. We're like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, beautiful. Awesome.
So if can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, sorry about the background noise. I have my dog and my printer printing our worksheet. But just a celebration that I talked to a current client yesterday who I worked with him for like 2 years now. He downgraded like 6 months ago, or 4 or 5 months ago, to like a maintenance program. And when we talked, he was like, yeah, I really want to hit the ground running in 2019. I'd like to up back to work full with you again. So yeah. So we're very excited about, January 2019, us starting full time again. And he's been like my poster child. So I'm so excited.
That is so exciting. Yeah, make sure you get that testimonial.
I know. I have one that's out of date now. I have to get a new one.
That's great. Yeah, I love all these clients who are like affirming the powerful work that everybody's doing. So that's so great. And I know, Carly, it's like you've so needed this, I know you've been doing that end of the month crunch the last few months. So yes, I know you're going to be getting out of that. You can see it starting to happen.
Yeah. Thanks.
Good, good. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for sharing those. I love hearing the joy flow sightings. Doesn't it put you in a good mood and makes you feel like there's good stuff happening in the world? You know, I feel like when we share signs of abundance and celebrations and successes, we're affirming what we want more of. Even if it's what somebody else has, it's like, well, they can do it, I can do it too. All right. All right, so let's move into our bonus call, what we're doing today. Okay. And I thought I had, there we go. This is the Creative Power Center model. And I have been working with Creative Power Centers. This is something that I came up with, and I've been working with them for about 7 years now. I bring them to all my retreats. We actually take each of the 10 power centers that you see, and we put them on the floor, and we walk the power centers and step into the ones that you're resisting and the ones that you're excited about and the ones where you're comfortable. And so we do a whole bunch of coaching around this at almost every retreat that I do. I have a personal model and a business model, but I find I use the business model obviously a lot. So if you haven't printed this off, this is over in the Facebook group. You may want to print it off. I put the slides there as well because I know that's really handy to have those, and you might want to take some notes on that. So I'm going to just give you a little overview of the model, and then we're going to go into details. I'm just going to see if I can get all fancy and do a little pointer mouse thing. All right, can you see my mouse on the screen? Of course, you guys are all on mute.
Yes.
Okay, awesome, great. Thank you. Don't you love it when somebody asks questions and everybody's on mute? Okay, so the basic layout is that this is grounded by your personal energy, all right? And then obviously you have your vision that guides you. And we'll talk more about this in just a minute. And then you have these 10 creative power centers, okay? These are 10 areas in your business that you can activate. You don't have to be activating all of them every moment, okay? But it's a great place to look if you're feeling stuck or feeling overwhelmed or feeling not sure. Or if you're feeling really expansive energy, then ride on that expansive energy and look and see where you want to point all that expansive energy. All right. Then we have these 4 activation behaviors that are in the corners: trust, courage, focus, and action. And those are things that you can always come back to for every single one of these power centers. All right. And we'll walk through examples of what that might look like. But if you're drawn to one of these power centers, then you might ask yourself, what do I need to trust for this to expand here? Get it flowing. The 2 questions I ask myself or the question that I ask myself when I'm looking at these creative power centers is it flowing? Is there flow or is there friction? Right? That's the great way to start and approach these. Is there flow or is there friction? And then identify what's flowing and where's the friction. You can have both, because you can have part of it, or you can be doing a little bit of flow, but there's still some friction there. And so it really helps you get clear about what's in the way, and also really clear about what you love and what's expanding. And then you can use these activation behaviors and say, okay, if I'm experiencing friction, where do I need to trust? Or where do I need to have more courage? Or is this a place where I really need to focus? Or I need to hold the focus? Or do I need to take some action items? Take some steps. All right. If at any time you have some questions, don't hesitate to ask. At any time. Okay. All right. So we're going to go playing with my. Now I'm trying to get back to what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to learn about the creative power centers and the idea of creative power that's in your business. We're going to identify the areas where you can open up the flow for expansion. We're also going to look at where you're blocked or what you might be ignoring that's holding you back from expansion. And then we're going to learn about those 4 cornerstone behaviors or activators that you can call in for expansion. Okay. And this is really, it really is all about, you can look at this 2 ways. You can look at this and say, oh, cool, a model. I'm such a learner. I want to learn this new model and be in the learning of the model. Or you can say, how can I apply this to my business? How's this really going to help me with my business? How can I, with that intention that you want to expand your business, how can you use these different points on this model to give you information so that you can then either work on getting rid of some of the friction or start moving into increasing the flow. Okay. All right, so let's move into the first piece. The first piece is at the very bottom of the model, okay, which is your personal energy. Sorry, I had a little bit of a scratchy throat. So your personal energy, I put this in the model because it is the basis, it's the foundation, okay? It's the ground for which you're building your business. And if you aren't paying attention to your personal energy, then all of this will crumble. It really will. Lots of times you need the courage or you need to focus in some of these areas in your personal energy. So my little acronym for that is PEAMS, when my client came up with that. And I do I believe in the library, there's a whole training on your personal energy, but just to give you the highlights, it's made up of 5 different areas. And the first one's your physical, right? We all know this one really well, whether we pay attention or not. Affects our expansion in our business. So your physical energy is, are you getting enough sleep? Do you have good energy? Are you able to focus? Are you eating, good healthy foods? Are you moving your body? Are you meditating? Things that are going to take care of your body. And lots of times you need to come back to these personal energy, your personal energy areas to really look at what needs to shift there, because that'll shift, it impacts everything in your business. We all know that if we have a couple nights where we don't sleep well, then it's really hard to focus. It can start impacting your confidence, all of that. The second one is your environmental energy. Okay? And environmental is, it's your office. Where's your office located? Does it feel really good to walk into your office, or does it feel like, oh my God, I can't even find my computer amongst everything, or I can't find things when I want them? Environmental might be the people that are around you. It might be where you live. Sometimes you get to a point, it's like my environment's no longer serving me. That's how I was. I had gotten a divorce. I moved in and did a house share, and it worked really well for the first couple of years. By the end of the 3rd year, the environment wasn't serving me anymore. It was like vibrating really until it just, it was like, boom, I need to go get my own place. So pay attention, and a lot of you are really sensitive. So all of these really make a difference in your ability to focus and create in your business. The next one's your emotional energy, okay? How are your emotions? Are you in expansive emotional energy of joy and optimism, hope, love, trust? Are you in constricting energy? Are you feeling a lot of anger and resentment and despair, or, things like that? So we can move up and down that emotional scale. We tend to move up and down the emotional scale moment by moment anyways. But paying attention to that, because your emotions can really hijack what it is you want to do in your business. So we can come up with this really great plan. Here's the next steps you're going to do in your business. And if emotionally it's triggering a whole bunch of fear around being visible, then you really need to pay attention to those emotions, right? Either work with a coach, go get some energy work done. I'm a big energy work person, and obviously I'm a big fan of coaching. So for both your emotional and your mental. So your mental energy, those are the things you're thinking. Do you have clear thought? You know, are you really clear about your messages? Are you clear about who your people are? Are you able to write, sit down and focus and write your emails or do Facebook Live videos? Or do you have some beliefs going on that are getting in the way and everything's all jumbled up and it's stopping you? All right, your spiritual energy, okay, that's connected to all of this. You know, we have a choice. Do we want to be in that connection energy where we feel like we're connected to something bigger and that us showing up matters? Or are you getting caught in an isolation energy where you forget you're connected to something bigger and you forget that you matter? And so when any one of these is out of whack, it just takes this whole system down. Okay, you can do out of whack for a little bit, but as we all know, when these things start happening a lot, they start piling on each other. And so if you're not feeling good physically, then emotionally it's going to start taking its toll, and then mentally, spiritually, and then next thing you know, your environment's going down the tube. So you want to pay attention to this. Okay, I could just talk about that one. Like I said, I have a whole class on it. All right. The next one is up at the top, and this is your vision, right? Your vivid vision. I hear, especially from people who are really creative and purpose-driven, it can sometimes be difficult to get through the day-to-day stuff if you're not really clear about your vision. All right. And here's the thing: is you got to get real about your vision. Okay. You're not really going to be motivated if you have a vision that you borrowed from somebody else. You know, if it's a vision that your parents think you should do, or your husband keeps asking you, or your wife keeps, your partner keeps asking you, and expecting you to be this different kind of business person than you are. And it changes over time. So my vision for my business was different when my kids were 2 and 6, and I wanted to be home every day, you know, as much as possible at 4 o'clock for the bus. Than now, where one's in college and one's last year of high school, and he's off doing his own thing. So I have a lot more time, and my vision for my business has changed. What I also want to note is that there's going to be different levels of clarity, and at different times you're going to have more clarity than others. I'm always a big vision person, so I usually have this really huge vision. I know a lot of you are like that as well. And notice, huge for you is different than what is huge for somebody else, okay? Huge for one person could be, I want to, make $1 million. I want to speak from big stages. I want to tour around the world. For somebody else, it's, I really want to have a good, consistent $50,000 a year business. And I want to change people's lives. And I want to make enough money to build out our basement and go on some trips. Whatever your vision or all in between that, there's no right or wrong. It's just being really honest. But I will say, yeah.
So we can pop in and ask questions, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So I feel like this has been my biggest struggle, because for years upon years, my vision was to be like, quit my job and have freedom. And I did that. And so, and then I was kind of like, now what? And like the biggest vision that I can really come up with is like, sorry, my dog. The biggest vision that I can come up with is like, great, I want to have a savings account full and I want to pay off my student loans, but like that is not exciting. Like, so I don't know if there's like, if you have any recommendations for like figuring it out, like what is the vision?
Right. Yeah, definitely. What I was going to say too is, it's a great question, Carly, is that at different times in your life, you're going to have different levels of clarity. So I've had big visions, and then like when I went through my divorce, I was like, it was kind of like you. It was like, I don't know what I want. I don't think I want the $1 million business anymore, but I know I want more than what I have. And so it was kind of like the vision was a little bit closer in, and there's something about just trusting that. So part of it is saying, yeah, I really want to have full bank accounts. What would that look like? I want to be able to pay off my bills. I want to be able to work with any coach I want to work with. Like, let yourself just write those things down, right? And then take it a little bit step further, like, well, what else do I want that I'm not saying? Because sometimes what happens is when we make a big change like that, like we can't even dream bigger because we're so stuck in like what I got to do today kind of thing. So part of it is embracing the vision, the clarity that you have right now, and kind of surrendering to it, which seems a little scary, but actually it will open up your energy so that you can see further. Now, it's also helpful to get together with your coach or with friends, and you can do a vision board. And I know you're big on those as well, but doing one for yourself, and you can do it on doing one for your business. You know, sometimes we do one for our life. You can do one for your business. I've done a vision board on my ideal client. I printed pictures off of like these cool, creative men and women on a board. And some of them were like real people who I'd like to be clients, and some of them were just images that I really liked.
Yeah. I mean, that gives me an idea. Like, is there things in my life that like I want to be able to do, at least in my personal life, that I want to be able to do that I just am not financially able to? And so just thinking about, like, I had the ability to hustle before I went to Germany because I was like, I want to pay for Germany.
Right.
So maybe it is just like, what is the next thing that what is the next adventure that I want?
Yeah.
And using that as a way to say, well, I have to make my bills plus some so that I can do this, thing.
Yeah. And part of it is making it real, because it's, for a lot of us, the putting on there, well, I want to have money in my savings, I want to contribute to my retirement. Like, yes, we want that, but it's not like, oh yeah, my heart beats for that. I can't wait to pay and build my retirement, Yeah. Most of us are more motivated by, I can't wait to touch more people's lives. I can't wait to go to Germany again. I can't wait I want to be able to go, this year I want to go to 3 workshops that I choose wherever I want to, and be able to say yes to those. And start making them real.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing, is like, get it out of your head and start making it real. If it's making a list, if it's in the Joyful Business Guide that you get, there's some visioning, and there's some visioning meditation that you can use as well. So that might help you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, all of these I could do like a whole workshop on it. We could totally do a visiting day. Great question. All right. Okay, so we've got the bottom, we've got the top of the model. Those absolutely need to be in place at whatever level. And then I just want to bring out those activation behaviors that we just talked about a few minutes ago. That trust, courage, focus, and action. So if you're feeling like Carly and some friction with vision, right? Friction, I look at friction, it's something that to me is, I can feel it in my body, and I think I can feel it when I'm talking to clients. I can hear them saying the words, but I feel that little bit of friction that it's not really landed, or they're not really going to do it kind of thing. So you start feeling that for yourself. Is something flowing, or is there some friction? And then you can pull out and ask yourself these questions, well, like using visioning. So what do I need to trust in order to get clear about my vision? How do I, do I need to trust myself more? Like, you could just start playing with some questions around the areas that you're wanting more clarity around. What would my vision look like if I was more courageous? What if I was courageous this weekend and did a vision board? There's different ways of using it. What if I focused on calling in my vision every day for the next 2 weeks? And then what action would you take? I want to create a vision board for what I want in 2019, what I want to create. All right, so these are, you can use these activation behaviors for all the different parts of the model. Okay, so keep thinking about it. So as we're getting ready to go through the 10 different creative power centers, so you're going to learn about them And then we're going to stop and ask a power question. And I want you to really think about, all right, what do I need here? Is there friction? Is it flowing? Okay. And ask questions. Okay. So the first one is your guiding goals. And because what happens is we get this vision and then we can get disconnected from, okay, we've got this vision, but what do I do today? You know, what's going on? And so in the Joyful Business Plan that you get, there is a list of your top 10 most popular vision business goals, like building your list, being more visible, making money, getting clients, doing your work. Or you might have some other type of business goal. It might be write a book. It might be something really specific. So you want to break that vision down into like, what are your goals right now? And I like to hold them for 90 days. Okay, because I used to do business plans. I literally have contributed to thousands of business plans back in my shopping center days, retail days. And that was fine back in the 90s and 80s. But now it's like things change so fast and we change so fast. Whole new social media platforms come up that weren't there in January, you know, when you created it. So I like to hold them for 90 days and then revisit them every quarter. So and a reminder that you can't do everything. So all of us are going to have, I want to make more money, I want to get more clients, I want to write the book, I want to lead a retreat, I want to build my list, I want to be more visible, I want to be a leader. Like we're going to say yes to all the goals, right? But the thing is you can't hold all of those all the time. So you want to pick like what are your top 3 goals, guiding goals that you want to hold for the next 90 days. And I call them guiding goals for a reason, because you guys are creative, intuitive, and you're rebels, okay? And as soon as I say goals, you guys are going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to do that, you know? I'm not going to do that. That's going to box me in, right? You're taking away my freedom. I started this business to have my freedom. So you want guiding goals, right? And remember that you're the CEO of your business, and you get to change your mind. So you might have a goal of list building for the next 90 days, and this incredible opportunity comes for you to take a write a book class, and a friend gives you a retreat place to go write the book, and all this comes together and you're like, okay, I'm actually going to go write the book this 90 days. Okay, so you want to be committed and clear, but at the same time have a little bit of flexibility if it's really obvious that your goals are shifting. And again, you might have, there are things that are going to be in your vision, like writing a book is a really big one that a lot of people have, but maybe it's not time for that to be a goal yet. Okay, so you can have things in your vision, like I've had write a book for the last 10 years. 2019, it's finally getting into my goals. Okay, most all of us have, you know, an income goal. So you're going to want to include that in there. And I'm not going to go too much into, I could, you know, we do a whole class on doing money flow and money goals. Yeah, so the power question here is, what are your guiding goals for the next 90 days? And to get really clear about that and be willing to say, these are my 3 things that I'm committing to for the next 90 days. You know, I want to, and increase your income could look like I want to get 3 new clients, or it could look like I want to raise my prices, or it could look like I want to offer a group program. That's how you're going to increase your income. So increasing your income doesn't always mean more clients, okay? So that's why they're distinctive, different goals. And then notice, do you feel friction around guiding goals, or is that really flowing? So let me just do a little check-in. How, you know, we hear from somebody about how are you feeling? Friction, flow in the middle around guiding goals. Yeah, Beth.
So what's fascinating is I actually went, and so when I joined the Joyful studio, I got this and I filled it in. And my quarterly business goals were more clients, visibility, more income, and personal brand expression. And what I'm loving, just as I'm looking at it today, is I'm in flow and visibility because I have more visibility today. And if I let go of where the income's coming in, I have more income today. And I am getting clearer on my personal brand expression.
Yes.
And so, well, I love that. And like, I just like the clients are, you know, like it's letting go. Yes, I want more one-on-one clients, but it's also letting go of what my client looks like. Maybe it is a group client. Like, so it's like, I'm making my goals.
Right. And they do, lots of times they show up in different ways.
Yeah.
Than you expect. But it's powerful to hold those goals and be really clear about them.
And what's speaking to me is what you said about the letting go. Like it's not what I expected, and you know, I can find the flow in this as opposed, like, see what is happening as opposed to what isn't happening.
Right, right, and that's such a great distinction because so often we're trained to look at what's not happening, what we're not doing. I didn't get the client that I expected, and that was how I was going to make my ultimate goal. But actually, these three things happened over there. Income came in from a different direction.
Yeah. So thanks.
So it is. Thank you, Beth. It is this beautiful place. That's why I call them guiding goals. It's like they're kind of like curves on the road. You know, it keeps you on the road, but like you're not tied to it that it has to be this road. You know, there's different roads you can go on. But it gives you whatever that is. It gives you some kind of like a bowling lane, you know, when they set up those guardrails at night. If you ever bowled at night and they set up these guardrails, it's like, you know, so you can go all over the lanes, but you know, you're not going to be able to jump out of somebody else's lane or go in the gutters. All right. Okay. And if you find that you're resisting this, you don't know what they are, you feel confused, then when you get the Joyful Business Guide, take a look at this section. And there's some suggestions for top 10 business goals. And you can look at those. And just, you know, I really encourage you to try it on for 90 days. Like 90 days, I'm going to do connections. And I'm just going to do fun and fabulous follow-up with 3 people a day, every day, for 90 days, right? For 90 days, I'm going to see ways of adding people to my list. For 90 days, I'm going to focus on getting 3 new clients. So there is power when you say, this is what I declare for the next 90 days. All right. And as all of these, if you feel a lot of friction coming up, this is great to bring to your coach. This is great to bring to any of the coaching calls, you know, that we have, open coaching calls. And if you're really feeling like it's really bringing up being visible or you know, some big things are coming up, then it might be time for some energy work or some belief busting, shifting work with your coach. Okay, so the next one is your personal brand and message. And this is, each one of you have your own personal brand. And this is your uniqueness and what attracts clients to you. And all of you have a personal brand, whether or not you call it, like this is my personal brand. It's just how you're showing up or not showing up. So the first part of it is that it takes your unique, beautiful brilliance. So your beautiful brilliance is all of those things that make you you. Your strengths, your experiences, the good, bad, the ugly experiences, your talents, your gifts, your personality, right? All of that impacts your brand. A great example of this is like there's 3 people that are in the studio, 3 life coaches. There's Beth, you know, who you've been hearing from. There's Barb, who is off on in the Denver mountains right now, and there's George. And each one of them, as you get to know them, are so different. You know, Beth is all about women taking back their power and their bodacious voices and learning how to work with their inner voices. Barb is all about leaning into joy and a holistic approach to really flourishing in your life and in your body. George brings addiction recovery, art, creativity, and shamanism. You can just see from the descriptions, like all three of them do some of the same things, and yet they're very, very different because of their beautiful brilliance. So if you're ever feeling like, oh God, I'm one of 1,000 or 10,000, tens of thousands of business coaches, I had to keep increasing the number, then you want to come back to your personal brand. Look at your beautiful brilliance. Get really clear about, turn those notifications off. Get really clear about what it is that you're a stand for. Like you could go back to your point of view that we did earlier in the month. That's part of your uniqueness. And then look at what makes you different. And in that, you also want to be really clear about who is it that you're working with, what are the problems that you solve, and what are the dreams that you help create. Okay. Anybody, what's coming up for you around your personal brand and message?
I mean, this is part of my vision, which we've been talking about for 2 years now. But just like what makes me unique is my creativity and my ability to help people manage stress through art. And that is my brand, and it just, I need to, and I even changed the wording in my notes to make myself feel better about it. But it's like, make my business focus on the professional who is stressed out or on the verge of burnout. And that I'm not changing my target market. I'm not uprooting anything. It's just my personal brand is that I help the same group of people manage stress so that they can grow into the beautiful, brilliant people that they are.
Right, so, right.
Yeah.
And your process that you do it with is a very creative process. And when you bring your strengths and your experience and your gifts and personality, it looks different. And that's what we want to bring more of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I just want to make a note too on what you said, Carly, that you said we were working on this the last 2 years. Very often when you first get in your business, you do work on this for the first couple of years. Most of us pick, here's one target market that I think I'm going to work with. And then once you start working with them or putting out the marketing and messages, you realize, it's this, but it's a little more over here. And the only way to figure that out is to put it out there. So you're right on track.
Thanks. Yeah, I think that was part of the thing too, is not, I was so focused on like the type of person that I had to figure out who my tribe was. And now that I figured out who my tribe is, now I can really see how my creative like soul can actually align with them, because I didn't know like who my people were. And so it's easier to now start connecting the dots.
Yes, yes. And that's why in here, it's like, who are your people, right? Who are your people? What is the main problem? Like they're stressed out, burned out in your case. And because you got to have somewhere to aim it, because otherwise you're aiming at everybody and then nobody really knows what you do.
Yeah.
Good, good. So the place to look here is, where could you expand and let your tribe see more of you? All right. So assuming you're clear about your tribe, who the people are that you serve, how could you let them see more of your personality, more of your point of view, your unique perspective? Carly is talking about helping corporate professionals with stress. Well, you can just imagine what that person might look like, and it might be somebody that you've encountered before, and they were much more corporate-like. Maybe they were, you've seen somebody who talks about mindfulness. Carly walks through the door of creativity, and she applies that to this tribe. So it's letting them see what your unique way is. A great example is the Center for Joyful Business. I'm a business coach, right? But I'm teaching things in a very different way and a very different approach than all these other business coaches out there. So notice where you feel friction, where you feel flow. And, those are great signs. So with this model, it's really helpful to even take like a coin or a paper clip and move it along and really sit in like one of these and say personal brand message, what's coming up, where's the friction, where's the flow, okay? And it will give you some great information, all right? Great information that you can work with. And lots of times self-awareness is that first step, right? When you just get aware of like, wow, I'm really holding back on my unique personality. Okay, I'm gonna test that out. I'm gonna take some baby steps and let that out. All right, the next one is your magnetic specialty niche, okay? You don't typically start, when you're brand new in business, you don't typically start out with a magnetic specialty niche. This happens over time, okay? So it is who you're working with and what you do, but it's really getting specific, okay? Like an example would be, you have a pet sitting business, right? And you work with all pets, all types of pets. I can sit for them. I can handle them on vacation. I can take them for walks. I can take them to the vet. So that's good, right? Or you can get it more refined and say, I am a dog walker for busy traveling executives. And all of a sudden, can you see, it's like, oh, that's me. Oh, that's my brother-in-law. Oh, wow, I really get what she does and who she does it for. Right? It makes it more specific. Now, that's an example of a very, very narrow niche. But you can start talking about busy travel executives. What kinds of things are they dealing with? Walking different types of dogs. Like you can create a whole magnetic specialty niche out of that. And I call it magnetic because when you talk about that, it's very compelling. It is very magnetic. People are like, yes, I belong, or no, I don't, right? Just like a magnet. Yes, you're either attracted or repelled, and sometimes that feels risky for people. They're like, but what if people don't like me? Well, not everybody's going to work with you, There's plenty of people, when I say joyful business, they look at me cross-eyed and they have no idea what I'm talking about. They're probably not my people, right? But the people who hear me speak, they're like, and they resonate with it, it is like a magnet. They're like, oh my God, we have to talk. I want to get on your list. I want to join the studio. I want to go to your pop-up. Like they want to do everything, okay? Now you can also have a couple smaller niches, okay? So some of you, you may have that specialty niche of, I do dog walking for travel executives. You might also do vacation pet sitting for busy travel executives. You may have some different niches. The thing with niching and a magnetic specialty niche, and this was a great question, I think, Carmen, you brought up on our last call, is that it's not, like, let's just go with the whole dog walking thing, right? It's not that you won't go cat sit, okay? It's that when you're marketing and you're taking an ad out in your local parent magazine saying that you do this, or the local business magazine, we're following the busy travel executives, that you're going to talk about what your magnetic specialty niche is, okay? Somebody may say, wow, I also have a cat too. Will you take care of the cat? And you can answer yes, if that's what you want to do, okay? You can say yes to clients, but for your marketing, for your energy and effort, money, and becoming known, you will become known for that magnetic specialty niche, okay? And a great example is just, I can't think of one in particular, but like when you think about somebody who writes a book, when they write a book, like there's a lot of diets out there, right? And they'll write a book about something really specific, about cutting back sugar or something. And that becomes their magnetic specialty niche. It's everything they talk about, but they probably also do other things, okay? But they're really claiming that magnetic specialty niche. Okay, so the power question here is, what is your magnetic specialty niche? What are you known for, or what do you want to become known for? I think that's a great question. Right, and then notice, do you feel friction here? Are you pushing back? Or can you not even focus on it? Some people can't even answer this question, or they don't want to. Or is it flowing, and like you kind of get this and you're kind of excited about this? So I'd love to hear from somebody. Like, what are you experiencing here when you think about magnetic specialty niche?
I can tell you that I love when I found my magnetic specialty niche to work with first responders. It changed everything for me. So and it took me about 2 years, Carly, to figure that out. And I finally declared it earlier this year, and it made all the difference in the world in my resonance with the work. And I would say a smaller niche of that is because the magnetic specialty niche is working with first responders, but the smaller niche inside of that right now is focusing on law enforcement. I think that kind of fits into what you would call a smaller niche. And but I love it. It changed everything as far as my resonance and desire and all of those things.
I remember that conversation back in the spring, Carmen. We had that conversation about niche, and you were like beside yourself. Of, I keep trying to put it this way and be more general and with your message. Yeah. And then, like, when you finally got permission, so to speak, to go with your niche, it's like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do, and it's very powerful and clear and compelling, and so clear. Like, even everybody, if you haven't met Carmen before, already you know she works with first responders. You're like, click, I can refer her to somebody. You know, I know who to call.
Right. Yep, I love it.
Yeah. Fabulous. Okay, it's a great example. Okay, we're going to keep going. Again, I could do a class on every one of these. Okay, the next one is authentic, bold, creative marketing. I also call it ABC marketing. You know, remember, when you're marketing, you're not marketing for marketing's sake. You're marketing for your people, right? You're marketing for your tribe, right? You want to share what you have because you have something that could help them. So the more, so that's like an invitation that you don't want to do just generic marketing. You know, it's not about just being out there. It's about more and more being authentic, being willing to be seen in your beautiful brilliance. Okay, we were talking about beautiful brilliance, your gifts, your talents, your strengths, your experience, your personality. So you could get 5 business coaches to write an article about getting clients, and we would all write them differently, right? And the more authentic we are, the more compelling it's going to be, right? They'll all have a different way. The steps might actually be very similar, but the authenticity, like our unique experiences, our unique point of view, is going to be very different. And that's where you get into the bold, you know, willing to be provocative or take a stand. Provocative doesn't, you know, maybe what you think of when you think of provocative and being right in somebody's face and saying something the opposite. But provocative can also be, you know, I'm very provocative in Joyful Business, but it's not in your face. It's just kind of this fun, creative side door into marketing success, you know, and business success. But it's still very bold. And this is where sharing your point of view comes in. So doing that work that we did earlier in November on that class on point of view is being willing to be bold and say, here's what I think. You know, if you're a health coach, here's what I think about the latest diet. Here's what I think about sugar. Here's what I think about getting sleep. Right? And it's going to be your own unique kind of worldview. Being creative, you know, this is such a beautiful time to be an entrepreneur and be a business owner. There's so many opportunities to be creative and to show your personality and your point of view and your ABC marketing. There's so many tools available to make it easier than ever. But lots of times when we first start doing it, it's like we want to go in the box and try to get it perfect. Perfect is not going to get you there. It's getting it done, doing it, and you're going to be kind of messy when you do it. And then you're going to get feedback. And then you keep adjusting with that. But being creative is really being willing to get out of the box and use your creativity towards that. So one of your power question is, how can you amp up your ABC, your authentic, bold, and creative? And do you feel friction around this or flow? And I'd love to hear from somebody. You feeling friction or flow? What do you think of this?
I know I'm feeling some flow around it. I love my sass. Like, I'm so sassy, and just like, I'm so excited to like start bringing that back into my marketing.
Yeah, you've got a lot of sass, girl. And, yeah, and it is bringing that and putting sass in that subject line of your emails, you know? Yeah, absolutely. And I love when I write like subject lines, or, you know, like I'll write an article and then I'll create that subject line, because that's the thing that'll get them to open it. And I just love when I come up with something that is a little provocative or a little different, or might make people go, huh? And I inevitably will get back response saying, you know, I had to open your email because I wanted to see what you meant by that, you know? And it's not, and just, you know, be really clear, you know, it's not doing a provocative subject line to get them to open, you know, like, I'm pregnant. And then it's like, I'm pregnant with this idea. Like, you know, we get irritated about stuff like that. You know, you want to be authentic. You could do that one, but you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I've opened ones, like I opened one the other day because I thought this person was saying that somebody in the industry had died. And I opened it and she was actually paying tribute to him because she loves her work so much, and here's a program he's doing. And it felt a little bait and switch, and I didn't like that. Most of you have a long way to go before you get there.
One thing, Laura, this is Carmen, that I would note too is that because a lot of the topics that I deal with are pretty heavy and serious, it's easy to forget my own sassiness, if you will, right? And sense of humor, which is very, when I'm experienced by my target market, what attracts them is my sense of humor, or it's very disarming and builds trust, or whatever, my natural style. But when I'm marketing, I start getting caught in the trap of, oh, these are really serious topics. Everything I say needs to be really deep and profound. And so when I did my professional video, that's why I intentionally left the little outtakes at the end, where you can hear me in the background saying, did I do okay? Should I not smile? And then I'm like twirling my code and, you know,
Right.
And it was I intentionally left that to show some of the personality and sass, but without, in a way that hopefully didn't discredit the seriousness of what I'm trying to offer. Yeah. It's a tricky balance.
Right, it's a balance. And most of you could go in that direction and be okay, you know, letting out more of it. So it's a great example. Yeah, I know whenever I get that urge, like I want to write a deep and profound email, it's going to be trash. It's like every time, like it's got to be deep and profound. It's got to be significant. That's my Achilles heel. And that's my, you know, fear talking, you know, that it has to be significant. So I already know that's like something I've learned over time. Usually, actually, when I write an email and I start worrying, oh my God, that seems so fluffy and so delightful, that's the one that everybody's like, oh my God, this was amazing. So you'll find your own range with that. But yeah, it's really common that, and so notice that you might feel friction even though it's uncomfortable. Okay, because friction isn't always telling you it's bad. Sometimes the friction is just saying, like for me, I get that friction of it's got to be significant, or I get worried like it's going to be not serious enough. And I can do serious all day long, but the serious comes out really boring and nobody pays attention. So I have to add the ABC to it because that's what makes it so unique and different. And for people to be able to see it, who are meant to see it.
I love that you bring that up, Laura, you know, in the significant, because I haven't written to my list in a long time. And, you know, I have been stewing over this for about 2 months because I haven't done it. And it's like, well, what's the thing that I'm going to, like, you know, email them? And so it's like let go of the significance. So thank you for that. Like,
yes.
And just to have fun.
Yes, it actually really, it will hold you back every time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, Beth, we were coaching on that earlier. That's a really common thing I coach on is people are like, I haven't written to my list in months. I fell off the wagon. Or I've never written to them. And so then it becomes, that first email becomes so significant that it chokes the marketing flow, right? And you don't want to do anything. I think I've coached 3 people on that in the last week. And it's like, just get going, just get it going, get the flow going, and say something authentic like, wow, I haven't written you in a while. And I'm so excited about what I've been doing that I forgot to write you, that kind of and now I'm so excited I want to write you. Yeah, so that's the authenticity piece. And people resonate with that more than anything, that authentic piece. And it sounds, we hear it all the time, you'll be authentic. But I mean, I've been working for 50 some years to be authentic, to be my authentic self. It's like shedding away all these layers and layers, of stuff and really getting to the essence of who I am. It's challenging, it can be challenging. But it is the thing that endears you to people and opens the door, as Carmen said, it really opens the door for people. Her humor, if you just talk about it, it could sound like, oh my God, how could you talk about first responder issues with humor? But actually they're craving that because it's so serious. They need somebody who can be in the power of the humor and hold the seriousness of it. Okay. Next, all right, spotlight and visibility. This is really about stepping out there and stepping out and being willing to be a leader in your industry, being willing to be seen and be heard. And I really want to emphasize the leadership part. I think I'm actually going to change the name to leadership and visibility. It is being willing to be seen more, and it's willing to be a leader. So, you can have a business where you're a chiropractor and you do what everybody else does, and you open a business on the corner in the shopping center, and you'll get some business and things like that. But when you're in the spotlight and you're being willing to be a leader and you have something to say and you bring new innovative techniques and you take a stand for health and you really get involved, that makes all the difference in having a flourishing business. Okay. One of the ways of doing that is what I call creating a beacon marketing strategy. And this is the answer for those of you who are like, oh my God, there's so much to do. There's so many different marketing things to do. Pick one, a beacon marketing strategy, and commit to that. And a beacon marketing strategy it's kind of like, I think of it as the lighthouse, right? It is your lighthouse strategy that just keeps the light going, keeps the light going. It stands there, it doesn't move. It's not a searchlight running up and down the beach trying to find people, right? It is, I'm here, this is what I must stand for, this is who I'm here for, and I'm sending out the light, sending out the light. So an example of that might be doing a podcast. It might be doing a weekly or every 2 week Facebook Live show, right? Call it a show. That's a difference from randomly doing Facebook Lives to every Monday at noon, I do a Facebook Live show, okay? A simple one is for 6 or 7 years, I sent out an email every Monday, and it was your Monday Miracle Marketing Message. It was a very simple one. But every Monday, I had an audio and an article that was your Monday morning message. I just had somebody, I haven't done it in about 3 years, and I had somebody the other day said, I used to love getting those every Monday. And what is so great about it is a couple things, is that it is the thing that you can send everybody to. So no matter who you meet, you can say, come check out my podcast, come check out my videos on YouTube, check out my Facebook Live channel or show, sign up for my weekly tips. Barb's getting ready to do, who's in here in the studio, is getting ready to do a Leaning Into, or Let's Talk About Joy show. You can send everybody to it. So even if they're not ready to be a client right now, you can send them to your beacon marketing strategy. They'll get on your list, and then you can nurture that relationship over time. Okay. And then the beacon marketing strategy, say you have, say you do a Facebook Live, or say you do a Facebook Live show every week, you can then put that on your blog. You could share it over in LinkedIn. You could turn that into a podcast if you wanted to. You can use a lot of other strategies with it. You can send it to your newsletter list. Those are all things you can add on over time, okay? But having one strategy that you really put most of your effort and energy into will help you stand out, become more visible, and be a leader in the industry. Another thing it is incredibly good for is helping you find your voice and helping you find your point of view. I can tell you that for 6 years, when I did that Monday morning article, that Monday morning article and audio, the Miracle Marketing Message, every Wednesday the week before, I was like, okay, what do I have to say now? And it really makes you go inside and say, what do I believe in? What do I have to say about this? And it really helps you find that inside you. Okay.
I love that you just talked about that, because what just came up for me was the last webinar, or the last thing that you did, which was the point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm getting together with Tiffin, and we're going to record like that whole exercise of the point of view. And I love that as a way to use that to create something, because I'm intrigued about the Facebook Live.
Yes.
And so it's like, I don't know what anything is, but just to use that point of view as a way for me to show up.
Yes, absolutely. And I love you bring that up. In the point of view, we had a list, and you write a list of what are the things I believe? What are the things I believe? What are the things I know? And you create this long list, and each one of those could be a Facebook Live, right?
Yeah, yeah. All coming together. Okay, thank you.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Okay, all right. And so again, notice if you're feeling flow like Beth is, where it's all coming together, or notice if you're feeling friction, like does that feel like a lot of pressure? And and get real about what's coming up. Where is the friction? If it's around time, then it's like, look at your calendar and say, what am I willing to commit to? But it's getting real about it rather than just letting yourself be in overwhelm. And I'm doing it up here because usually it's a heady thing where you get into overwhelm, and that's a way of just stopping ourselves. And it really constricts the flow of everything. And so there's a choice. You can stay in overwhelm, or you can say, okay, let me get clear about what it is I'm really feeling, what it is it's really coming up for me.
Laura?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, so on the last one, the ABCs, I'm excited about it because, like I said, I'm ready to show up. But there was friction around it because it's, who the heck am I? Who am I really? But then going into this next one about the marketing beacon, that is exciting to me, because then I get to find out who I am, like you said. And like Beth said, it's just all coming together. I'm just blown away by this.
First call right out of the box of you joining.
Exactly. Like wow, I can't wait for more. But just the clarity that's coming to me as we're going through this whole process is amazing.
I love it. I love it. It's great. And it really is, really, this is why I wanted to record this again, because I did this a couple months ago, and I felt like I talked about it instead of being in it. And so I really wanted to kind of take our time with this to make sure that each of you knew how to apply this. But I love, you notice the friction coming up with the ABC marketing, but then all of a sudden you found a way, like an entrance point to make it fun. Like, oh, I get to discover that. Yes.
And that's why I'm here, just because everything you do is fun. That's my word. It's like
Good. I'm glad. I like to make it fun, because if it's really hard, then it's a good chance you won't do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I just, And, I think that's a great example actually right there of ABC marketing. When I first started out, I was passionate. I did name my business Joyful. I think I called it Joyful Marketing at the time. Changed it later to Center for Joyful Business, because I had been in corporate, and the life I felt like my life got sucked out of me with all these buyouts and mergers. So I was determined that Joy could be in business. But I really did like a two-step with it for a number of years of, this is, you know, this is so important. Everybody needs to know this message, to, oh my God, this is silly. People aren't going to take me seriously. And so after doing things, you know, just showing up consistently, it's like I found my voice, and I found, you know, and I just found that inner conviction. And that's what people get really attracted to, when they may not even understand your words, but that conviction and your energy is what they get excited about.
Yeah. It's like, I want more of that.
Yes, yes. Well, you've signed up. All right. Okay, next. Packaging your expertise. I'm just going to look at my outline. I don't know why, because I know all this by heart. So it's just seeing if there's anything good I wrote down there. I've just done this for so long. It's like I just so believe in these. So one of the ways to expand your business is by packaging your expertise, right? This is a real power. Each one of these are their own power centers. Lots of a place for you to stand and really embrace your power. And each of you have a way that you take clients through your process, right, to help them get the results you want. And I would dare say that it's a signature system. You may not know that yet. Some of you might be really clear about that, and some of you are developing that. But if you've been working with clients for a while, we could sit down right now and you could tell me, here's 7 things that I take them through. Okay, here's where we start. Like my clients, I always start with vision, right? What is your vision? Okay, what's getting in the way? You know, who is your, you know, what is your beautiful brilliance that makes you unique? Who is your market, your magnetic specialty niche? I really take them through each of these pieces. So you want to start looking at, you know, what are your 7 steps that you typically take people through? Now, this doesn't mean that you do 1, do 2, do 3. You know, you're going to jump around like a little chutes and ladder kind of thing. You might customize it for each client. That's okay, but it's powerful to own that you have a process. Okay. The first thing I have on here is stop offering one-off sessions. So if any of you are doing that, it can be okay to do that for a little special sometimes, just to get some people going. But usually you still want to develop a small package for people to experience you and have some results. It's just, it's hard to make money on just doing one-off sessions, okay? They can be sometimes a great intro, but you don't really want to do them for long, because it's really hard business to build up doing one-off chiropractic sessions, right? You want to go in and they say, here's what I think you need, and you buy your package, right? So all of us have different ways of being able to do that in our business. It might be that you want to create a program. These are different ways of packaging your expertise. Having a program, having a package, having a product. You can develop a signature system, and then you create a program that's over 6 months. And then you're going to go through, using your signature system, you'll take people through that for over a year. Don't get too hung up on the signature. The signature system is actually more for you to know what it is and to be able to say, yes, I have one. People don't actually want to know what your signature system is. And that's a common problem that we talk about. I think I talk about that in the Elegant Enrollment. People don't necessarily want to know what it is. They really just want to know that you know what you're doing and they feel comfortable and confident if you have a system. All right. But you want to look for ways to package your expertise. Now, I don't necessarily think that if you just get into business, you want to go ahead and create a product. Usually you want to be in business for a while, you know, so then you learn the nuances. And then when you create a product, it really resonates with who your specialty niche is, okay? But these are ways to start expanding. After you've been in business for a while You can stop offering the one-off sessions and create a package. Then you can develop your signature system. As you've been working with clients for a while, you see a lot of things that you do over and over again. Then you might add on products that are really good supplements. Like I'm thinking of creating a product around messaging, because that's something that if somebody doesn't get their magnetic specialty niche clear, they get stuck on everything else. So I'm thinking about creating a product around that. So you might have something that your clients always need to know first. All right. So the power question here is, what is your next step in packaging your expertise? Do you feel friction or flow? So I'd love to hear from somebody. What's coming up for you around this? Lots of flow, lots of ideas, or not so sure?
I can always talk. So my thing, I guess, is that I have this program that I've already like named called the Burnout Remedy Program, and so I'm feeling some friction there, and I think it's just in terms of my language, because I truly, like all of my clients, I truly believe we have to get the stress and the overwhelm and all of the crap out of the way before we can do anything. And so I just feel my current private coaching program doesn't have a name, it's not branded, so I can just like adjust, I can just adjust it as it goes. So I feel like I'm excited about this, like I know this is the right direction, however, I'm also very nervous about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm chewing your cough drop. Yeah, so this is where lots of times you hit that place where there's both. I call it joy fear. You're excited about it, but you can also be really nervous or afraid of it. It's okay to not have a branded program for your coaching program, but I know that you have a package for, you have a program that people are going through, and it's a package of sessions. They're not just buying one off from you.
Mm-hmm. And I have my system, I sell my system, but the system doesn't, it just changes slightly. It's not like it's going to be different. I guess I have fear around like actually putting a name, like putting a name on it for fear, like people will be like, that's not me. So I think I have most fear around, people thinking that this service is like a luxury then versus like a necessity, like I need a career and I need to build a career. So I think that's like my fear around like using the Burnout Remedy Program, having people's mindsets switch to be, this is a luxury.
Mm-hmm. So, I know this is something you've done a dance with for a while, but it's, I think you really need to answer that for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're the one that's having the resistance to it being a luxury or not. And, do the I believe, the point of view, I believe about the naming of that. And what would it be like to have that signature name for your system? And I believe, because part of you might believe it is a luxury. You have to have some discretionary income to be able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And part of you believes this is absolutely critical to your success.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more that you can bring out the I believes and actually put that on the table, you're going to be able to answer it within yourself and find your conviction of, yes, this can seem like a luxury. And yes, you do need, you're very clear, they do need to have the money to pay for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they also, like, this will change your career. It's an absolute necessity. So it doesn't be either or, but it's finding your conviction in that. So, because what might be happening now is that because your energy is a little flowy on that, not flowy, but questioning or feeling like, oh, I better backtrack because it feels like a luxury. You're not showing up fully and saying, yes, here's what I think, here's what I believe.
Mm-hmm. And I've been finding that I've been selling a lot more of my group program because it isn't like we do, like it's just, there's like some stress management in there, but it's like, let's hit the ground running. It's like much more straightforward. So I think answering this question will be help me get more into flow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And as you start seeing results with like this client who's come back to you, really taking those results in and seeing how important that is, you'll start also, it feeds your conviction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why I think that you do want to have some experience as you start then to develop your packaging, your expertise, because you want that conviction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's good. All right, we're going to move on because I know we're coming up on an hour and a half here. So another Creative Power Center to step into is creating your success support team. You can only grow so far alone. Okay, you can do it for a little bit, but you're not going to be able to truly expand very far because it just gets overwhelming and you'll get caught up in all the weeds. So you want to look at your support systems for your business, how to help you get things done. And that can start out by hiring a VA, a virtual assistant, or you might just hire somebody like Beth hired my VA to do some projects for her, just to get things going, and oh my God, she's on fire with this, and then more and more you can start hiring somebody, for 3 hours, 5 hours, and then a 10-hour package. You might just farm out some graphics, or you might just farm out somebody doing your website. But you do need support systems, a bookkeeper. There's only so far you can get on your own, and then it just gets so complicated that the time payoff is not worth it. It'd be so much more worth it for you to go out and meet more people and have conversations with them, or write an article or do Facebook Lives, than for you to sit home and do your books, for example. I'm also a big believer in having a business coach. You're really smart for being in a program like this. If you want to play bigger, play smarter, you want to work with people who have a business model like you want and learn from them, because there's so much you're going to learn that's going to help you go faster. And I can tell you, I've had a business coach for different coaches for 20 years, probably about 20, a little over 20 years, starting with a career coach when I was in corporate, and then all the way through business coaches, money coaches, spiritual coaches. I have like these online cool coaches right now. I don't even know what you call them, coaches. But they're helping me create the center for Joyful Business, the center part of it. And so I have different coaches for different reasons. And then you want to look at your life support. Okay, I was coaching with a client the other day, and she travels a lot. And so we're working on reducing that travel, or having the travel be more East Coast, which is where she's at, and more on clients that she really, really, really loves. And there were some issues that were coming up. It's like, oh my God, I'm traveling so much that there's stuff in my life that's not getting done. And finally we realized, like, wow, if she could hire that dog walker we were talking about, if she could hire a dog walker, she would feel so much better and wouldn't feel so guilty, and knew that their big dog was getting the love and support and exercise that it needs. That was just one example. So the power question is, who's missing, right, in your success support team? Or another question might be, what would make it so easy for you to be successful? What kind of support would you need for success to be easy? All right. And it might seem like a luxury, as we were talking about, but it's actually, those of you who've been in corporate and have worked or been in a store, like you've worked with lots of other people, you know that everybody has a different expertise. And I know that my VA can get something done like that in our shopping cart that would take me hours if I was ever even successful at doing. And so it's so worth it. All right. So this is, notice if you're feeling friction or if you're feeling flow. You might be feeling flow over the idea of having somebody, but maybe you're feeling some friction over paying them. And so that's the place you want to start looking, is what would help with that friction. Is it getting one more client? If I get one more client, then I'll hire somebody. Or maybe I could hire somebody just for a project. Maybe I could just try them out. right? There's so many different ways to approach this. The next one is systems and planning. So systems are your friend, okay? This is what I learned firsthand. When I left corporate, I was like, wow, I don't want any systems. I want freedom. I want flexibility. What I realized pretty quickly is that systems actually allow you to have that freedom and flexibility and allows you to grow with less stress. So I notice where friction's showing up in my business, and I look and see how can I create a system around that. So things like we have just this little system around, I will send an email to my VA and ask her to do something, make a change on a sales page. Instead of wondering, did it get done, having to go visit the sales page to see when it might have gotten done, she just sends them back an email and it just says done. And that's all it says. She doesn't have to say anything else, it just says done. And then I just know I can release that. I don't have to wake up at 3 in the morning and say, oh my God, did we change the price? That's just one little system. There's all sorts of systems. You can have client systems. Having a system like it for starting new clients. What's the paperwork that you send to your clients? We're getting ready to move to an online system for the paperwork so that I don't have to keep attaching things for clients to emails and just send them to a client portal. So that would be a system. And you grow these systems as you grow. So you don't have to have every system in place. You might have a system for a client management system so that you know who you want to follow up with and when should you follow up, and you want that to be more automated. Marketing systems, being able to take payment. That's a big step up from I have to talk to people in person, or they have to send me a check, or I have to take their credit card. Being able to send them a link, so that they can just do it online, or they can just schedule their calendar. You can send them your calendar and they can just schedule their appointments. All of these are systems that you put in place. Again, you don't have to do them all at one time, but as you grow, you're going to want to add these systems. And you're going to want to add more planning. Again, looking at things in 90 days, like what do I want to do over the next 90 days? And then start putting things on the calendar. One of the things I was doing with Beth earlier is we were actually walking through the calendar and saying, which days are you going to send out the emails? And making it real. Like, it's one thing to have these plans in your head, but you've got to find a way to make them real. So then you can look at your calendar and say, I have 2 emails to send out this week. I have 2 emails to send out next week, or whatever it is. And that's what your job is to write those emails or work with your VA over it. Then you want to also look at your personal systems. We're all about joyful business. So what are your personal systems and rituals to get in alignment with that joy? That is such a priority for me in the morning. I have to do some combination of stretching, meditation, reading or writing. I can't do all of them every day, but I do some combination of them because I just get myself, it's kind of like getting it all aligned, so that when I go to write the next email, or that I can be present on a coaching call. I can do a webinar and be totally here and present. Okay, so a power question is, where are things falling apart that you might need a system? Or where are you holding back on creating a system? Okay, or doing some planning. Where are you holding back and saying, I don't have time to plan, but actually then your program never quite gets filled because you never really planned out how you were going to fill it. So notice where things are falling apart, where you're holding back. And do you feel friction and flow around systems and planning? So let me just check in. Who's feeling flow or friction around systems and planning?
Friction. I'm so drawn to having it all set up, and I can feel the need for it, and it feels like the really sticky grinding place in my life right now of getting those systems in place, even with help.
So part of it, so this might be the thing to bring to one of the coaching calls as well. And, it was getting clear, because I'm hearing this balled up energy of just
Yeah.
And so writing down, you know, doing a mind map, you know, what are the systems that you're resisting or you think you should have or you don't want to have, or just like what's in that ball, and just start unwinding the threads so that you can look at them individually and make some decisions.
Yeah.
It's when it gets all balled up that's like, you know, and then you can make decisions like, okay, I'll add this system in December. All right, I'll do that one in January. I'll do that one in March. Or I don't know if I need that system or not yet. And so I'll bring that to the coaching call with Laura in the studio. Yeah, does that help?
Good. It does, because I feel like it's balled up with, I have a sense that creating the systems will create more ease and freedom, and yet trying to set them up and implement them feels like tons of particles and gunk that isn't very freeing. Where if I let it go and just do my, you know.
And that'll get you so far, right? It'll get you so far, but it's not going to get you really expanding. Yeah. And so for the sake of expanding, right, be able to create more money and work with more clients and get your fabulous, amazing work out in the world.
Right.
Breaking it apart might help, you know, and like what are the different things that you're thinking about as far as systems.
Right.
You know, so it's not all balled up into one big system fiasco, you know, kind of thing. And then picking one and saying, okay, do I need this? And then what am I willing to do? Because you're right, these systems do take some time. They take some energy or effort, or you might need some help with somebody to set it up. But it's like, what if, okay, I'm just going to do a calendar for this month and I'll set up my automated calendar, or, you know, whatever it might be, one piece at a time. You don't have to do them all at once.
Yeah. Good point. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And
my
mind
mapping mind goes in all these directions, and then I have, you know, 20 brilliant systems that I think of creating right now, and it
right. So then you have the 20 systems, and that's okay. Like, you need to do that at the beginning. I'm glad you said that. Like, dump it all out, get your 20 systems out on your mind map that you absolutely must have to be successful, right? And then come back to the 90-day plan. So which ones am I going to choose? Instead of I have to have them all, like, which ones am I going to choose over the next 90 days to put my focus on and take action on? Okay, so you're coming back to bringing in those behaviors, those activation behaviors.
Right.
In 90 days, what am I going to choose to focus on? Okay, I'm just going to choose these 3. I still have the other 17 ideas that I can do, but for right now, I'm just going to choose this one or these 3 or whatever it is. Okay.
Great. Thanks.
Okay. Is that helpful?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Good. All right. Let's move on in. So money and prosperity. This is always a popular one when we do this, when we put them on the floor. Everybody's like running from it. They have a love-hate relationship. Like, they want to run to it, but then they're like, they don't really want to be coached on it. But this is one you want to look at. So notice automatically, do you feel friction or flow around money and prosperity? And then there's different parts to this, right? There's the making money, you know, getting really clear. How much do you want to make in the next 90 days? What is that guiding goal of how much money you want to make? Okay. What are some different ways that you can make that? Is it, I want to work with 3 clients. I want to sell 2 houses. I want to sell some products. How many products? How many people in a group? Like, getting clear about what that is. And there's a really great, in the Joyful Business Plan, there's a really great revenue piece in there that I do easy, great, and heaven. So I love to create 3 different numbers whenever I'm doing a program or trying to fill a workshop or something like that. So you can go listen to the video that comes with that and look at that. And that one's great to do when you're thinking about your revenue for the whole year for 2019. How much money would you like to create for the year? And you can do an easy, great, and heaven. And then there's tracking your money, right? There's making the money, but then you want to be able to track it, you know, so that you know, no matter where you are through the year, where you are through the month, you know how much money you've made. Okay, you know where your expenses are, and you know the profit. that's coming in. Right, and there's things in the library if you need some help with, there's different classes in the library that you can go back and refer to specifics around that. But notice if you have things coming up around that, then that would be a good one to go listen to. Shifting limiting beliefs. I'm gonna put my cough drop back in. Looking at some of those limiting beliefs, this is one where a lot of a lot of things come up around what is your potential for making money or for charging. And that's something that you can bring to a coaching call or work with your coach on. For most of us, we do need to expand our capacity for what's possible in our business. And there might be different ways to even look at it, of where the money might come from. Which leads to pricing. How do you price your services or your products? And are you charging prices that reflect the value that you give? Are you really undercharging? Thinking that you're doing your client a favor, when in fact you're suffering because you're not charging enough for your work. So the power question here, I'll take my cough drop out. I can't talk and suck on it at the same time. Where's your money crying out to be nurtured? All right, which one of these is coming up, or all of those coming up? And if that's the case, then, look back at the library for some support, bring these questions to the calls. There's lots of resources here for you on that. Okay, but this is a good one. Again, when you want to expand your business, you want to look in the money and prosperity area because that's one that's usually you can do everything you want in the other areas, but if you're not willing to charge for it, you're not going to make a sustainable living. All right. What's coming up for you guys? I'd love to hear from at least one person. Friction, flow, curiosity.
It's curiosity. I can feel like I'm not so much in friction anymore, and I'm curious about what's the shift. I think is where I am. Mm-hmm. and opening to to receiving.
I was going to say, yeah, I know that's what we mentioned in the call today, is that that is so powerful. It's like we can know it up here logically, but being willing to receive the money. Yeah. $1,000 for this, $5,000 for that, $10,000 for this, whatever it is, it's like being willing to receive it and letting it in.
Yeah. So that's where the curiosity comes in. Mm-hmm. So, look, I have some work around this, and the curiosity is a much better place to be than the dread or I'm just going to close my eyes over this slide. Yes.
Curiosity is such a powerful place because that's where you actually can allow the shift to happen. Yeah. Good. All right. And then the last one is wisdom and intuition. It's a little bit different, but this is part of your whole, your creative power centers. There's huge power here in your wisdom and intuition. And to be willing to put some time and attention and energy into this will make everything else work better, okay? So slow down to go fast. This is something I used to fight with, both personally, but also I believed it. But then I felt like it wasn't significant, right? Slowing down seems very insignificant, right? So my Achilles heel would come up. But the more that I take a stand for slowing down to go fast, people are like, yes, that's the truth. That's how it really works. Instead of hustle is the way to success. Slowing down to go fast. So slowing down so that you have time to reflect, to think, to create, get inspired, to do the mind map of, so what are the systems, if I could have it any way I want, what are the systems that I would like to have? Some time to reflect and plan and say, okay, what am I going to do for the next 90 days? Like, it's so important that I'm committing the time to it. And I'm going to do the things that I know to help me tap into that greater wisdom. So for each of you, you have your ways that you tap into that wisdom. So it might be you pull a card, right? I've got my cards here that I pulled today. It always helps me get a message that helps me shift a perspective in some way. And for you, it might be moving your body. It might be taking a walk. It might be stretching, meditating, reading, journaling, doing some morning pages in your journal. How do you tap into your greater wisdom and intuition? And so you really want to get clear about what your ways are, your favorite ways, because this is just as important as all of these other creative power centers that are represented here. Because if you just try to move fast through everything, they're not going to stick, right? And they're not going to be sustainable, and they're not growing from the inside out. So your power question is, what rituals can you put in place to increase your access to your wisdom and intuition? And do you feel friction or flow when it comes to wisdom and intuition in your business? A lot of you have access to intuition. You're very intuitive, but are you using that in your business? All right, I'd love to hear from one or two of you about this. What's coming up for you? What rituals?
I was going to say, slow down to go fast. Because I have a tendency to get into like fight or flight, where I'm just like, I know the numbers and I need to do this, and just bang my head against the wall. And I just had this aha where I used to do morning pages every morning, and I would always solve all of my personal problems like by the end. But I think doing this for my business, like setting aside 20, 30 minutes or even 10 minutes in the middle of my workday to just do morning pages like focused on my business, I think would totally open up like my like excitement about my business, let go of my, talk about money and prosperity and being willing to receive. And, I think it would just open up a lot of my blocks that I'm encountering right now. So I liked that.
Good. Yes, it's deceptive, but and that piece about, we all know how important intuition is on this call, applying it to your business.
Mm-hmm.
Tiffin, yeah.
Yeah, this is the one that feels most resonant to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's the work I do with my clients, is helping people really reflect deeply and tap into their own wisdom and intuition through the structures of astrology that I share with them. And Carly, I love what you said about intentionally tapping into my own wisdom and intuition about my business aspect. Like the meaning of it, point of view of it, I feel really aligned with. But it's like I forget to go to that deeper place around running the business, around the structures and the strategies. So that's what I'm getting right now, is like some more intentional tapping into that wisdom about my business. So looking forward to conversation. I'm loving the connections that I'm making with some people in the group, and I'm looking forward to like, yes, Carly, let's bookmark that. Yes, Beth, let's bookmark that. Carmen, let's bookmark it. Like this, I think is a really important piece.
Good. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Tiffin. It's it's why I put it in here, because I notice for myself and for my clients at the beginning is that we're all hugely intuitive. Like this is our community, right? We're all like creative, intuitive, and yet it would go out the door when it came to our business, and it was like this whole other place. And so we have to bring it into our day and our daily rituals and our daily routines. And yes, using your wisdom and intuition, using astrology to tell you about the planning and the systems. Like, yes, that. Yeah, I pull a card, whenever I'm getting ready to write an article, I'll pull a card and say, what does it want to tell me? And half the time I feel like it's just screaming out the name of the article I'm going to write. It's just so perfect. All right. Good. Anybody else have something to say on this one? All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up for today. I'd love to hear just a couple of takeaways. What are you taking away? We could go in and do a ton of coaching on this. This is why it's one of my favorite things. So it's always good to bring to the coaching calls. And whenever you are feeling overwhelmed or stuck, or just ready to do some planning, make sure you bring this with you and walk through the different power centers to see what's there for you. All right, so what would you like to share? What are you taking away from today, and or how are you going to use this? Tiffin, do you want to share?
I think continuing the focus conversations that I have lined up, and I have my writing group for focus this afternoon, and I think I will start it with like morning pages type writing about my business. I think that's a really great specific thing I can do today.
Good.
As well as writing my newsletter for December during that time, which is a structure I've created. I go to this Tuesday afternoon writing group every week and I work on my writing project. So yay.
Perfect. Yes. It's creating those structures. That's a system that you've created to be able to support you in getting things done.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I love the pulling out Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way book, because I haven't done morning pages in years. And so the first thing is pulling out that book to get back into the morning pages, because I really like the idea of using my wisdom, intuition, and intention to get into just writing about the business and just to see what's going to come out and flow and let go of. And so here's the thing that's been the coolest. I love this whole process, and I'm so excited and curious to see what can I do for a floor graphic for my Bodacious You Sacred Retreat Day at the end of December. And it's, so I'm inspired by the structure that you've created for business, and it's like, oh, how can I do something that's personal? So I'm off on a whole other tangent.
Yeah, sometimes that happens where you get all excited about the model and you want to create your own model.
Yeah.
You have a personal one as well, and so you can possibly share that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just I love that the mind is a buzz, and I have some space this afternoon to digest one or two of the things that you've gone through.
Love that. And the model part, that's really calling you towards your signature system. Of being able to look at things instead of saying, oh, I have all these great tools and exercises, realizing that there is an art and a science to the way that you put the tools and exercises together, and that can become a process, a system, a model.
Yeah, yeah.
And not everyone has to be like, this is my model, my signature system forever. It may become that, but lots of times this is my model for now. This I've been doing for 7 or 8 years, and it has evolved. Each of the pieces have all evolved over that time.
Yeah. Thanks.
Good.
I think for me, it was definitely the morning pages thing, but I also have my biggest friction of forever has been great, well, it's pretty straightforward what you do. You use creativity. That's just been the story that I've been telling myself. But as we were talking about the Beacon marketing strategy, thank you. I was writing down what's the friction around this? It's the fact that I don't think I can come up with a bunch of different ways to talk about creative stress reduction. And then I was like, okay, well, you're never going to do it if you don't do it right now. And so I wrote out a bunch of ideas for Facebook Lives, and I was like, wait, this is way easier than I thought. So just hitting the ground running, doing I'm going to do a Facebook Live hopefully this week about what's on your tray, what's on your plate. You have a plate for work, and you have a plate for home, and you have a glass of, holiday crap that you got to deal with. So, just thinking about all of the different creative ways that visual and creative ways that I can share what I'm teaching. So I'm just excited to put that into place now that yeah.
Yeah, I love it. There is something about when you commit to a Beacon marketing strategy and you say, okay, I'm committing, I'm going to write this tip I'm going to write a message every Monday, or I'm going to do a Facebook Live, once a week, every week. I know you do it every Tuesday. And then it makes you look for the content, and it makes you look for your point of view. And yeah, that's a great exercise. Is what do I think about creativity and stress reduction? And what do I believe about it? What do I know about it? And put all those into Facebook Lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Anybody else want to share as we wrap up? All right. Well, this has been fantastic. Thank you all for your wonderful participation. I think I could have just started out and told everybody to go do morning pages. We might have been done 2 hours ago. But I am a big believer, if you don't know about morning pages or if you've forgotten about them, Julia Cameron and The Artist's Way. I've been doing them for 20 years, on and off, mostly on. It has helped me immensely through my business, and just being able to write consistently freehand to get the stuff out. And I think one of the things that I know is that, and I'm hearing a lot from you guys, is you have all this stuff in your head, right, in your brain, and then it gets all jumbled up. It starts swirling, it gets jumbled up, and then all of a sudden you're calling it overwhelm. I'm overwhelmed. And then everything comes to a screeching halt, or it's all that friction and you can't see your way. And so morning pages, your rituals, slowing down to move fast, creating structures like Tiffin talked about of a writing group. I go to Creative Cafe time several times a week. I have to get out of my home and into the energy of a cafe, not a Starbucks, which is frenetic, but just like a bakery or a cafe is more slower. And I write my morning pages. I might read something inspirational, and then it's like, bam, all the ideas start flowing. The mind maps just start getting filled up. So that's part of your systems, right, that you want for what it is you're trying, to be able to keep visiting this and be able to use it. So I'm excited for all your expansion and all your excitement over this. And feel free to post your ahas in the Facebook group, share with other people what you're getting, or if you have some ahas later in the week or questions, feel free to post in the Facebook group. All right.
Thanks, Laura.
Bye, everybody. Take care. Have a great week.
Right. Thank you.